But if you want to know anything about where these businesses were located, she had mentioned earlier that her father had one of the businesses here, but she didn't know how many businesses that her father owned, but I think it was at least 3, because there were 2 in that area there, and then we had a Ted snack shop. I guess you have it here listed in your flyer. And then, of course, there was another restaurant that was up there that was run by her father. And what is your name again?
Pam.
Pam. Okay, and this is Ted's granddaughter. Okay, and this is the picture that you're featuring here on the flyer. Who is Pam? Who is this?
My mom.
This is your mom. Okay, so that is some history. She got some history here as well. The Community Advocacy Depot, I was a part of that organization. It was an agency. My name, of course, is Ted Adkinson. I was the secretary of the organization. That organization was first put together by a man in this community by the name of John Lee Johnson. And John Lee Johnson had formed in this community back in the early 60s. He formed what we call the Concerned Citizens Committee. And that committee grew out of the result of something needed to be done in this community as far as progress in the North End. And we needed an organization to come together with a group of people to kind of advocate for the kinds of changes that we needed in order to go forward with establishing businesses, being able to get people involved in voting, to run for office, and to actually get them involved in running for positions, even the school board, so that we can then be in offices and agencies, be a part of boards and commissions, so that when decisions are made to affect our community, we could be there at the table in order to help out and letting folks know this is what we would like to have, and these are some of the changes we feel that are necessary in order to move us forward. Progress. Why they're there. Everybody has their own opinion about why they think it's there, because naturally that's going to be of a suspicious nature of why they come into this community and to locate here when there's probably a lot of other sites as well as the one there that it seemed to be doing fine where it was. So everybody might have their own idea as to why it's there. We had the NYDD. That was a Neighborhood Youth Design Depot. And that was a youth organization that printed a paper, and they kept the community informed, the African American community informed as to what was going on here in the African American community as related to the social activity that was going on, religious activity that was going on. Kept people informed about the different gangs, what was going on, and then also any activity that was going on for us, politics, what was going on in government, and what was going on that yard. You know what we call the yard?
No.
Well, the yard is called the University of Illinois.
Okay.
All right, that's the yard. And that's what is referred to as to what was going on in terms of blacks in the African American community, as well as blacks who were coming down here to go to school at the University of Illinois. Sometimes you had programs that were run in this community that were being also run over there at the University of Illinois. The university was trying to coordinate activity over here because you got that institution over there where everybody pays taxes, but only the dominant group gets the opportunity to go over to school over there and actually participate in all the activities and have what we call an opportunity to have access to all the facilities. And so groups were set up to kind of coordinate activities here in the community as well as what was going on in the University of Illinois. And the chancellor kind of worked that out, mainly with a group called the Concerned Citizens Committee, which was headed by John Lee Johnson. And we sort of worked out things that could be done here on the north side of the university, so that youngsters on the north side of the university could participate in activities that was going on the south side of the university. So that was what we call the Concerned Citizens Committee, and we used to meet right there in the Community Advocacy Depot, where when they had urban renewal coming through this community, what we would then do is buy the land for $1, and then we would go back into the Community Advocacy Depot, and we had, from the University of Illinois, we had architects, we had engineers, we had urban planners, We had people involved in social work, psychology. We even had the legal department was then around there on University Avenue. We would have them, they were a part of it. And the classrooms, the students were taken out of the University of Illinois, out of that environment, and put over in the North End so that they could then hear the people in the community express their views about how they wanted their community to be designed, through conversation, what they wanted into, how they wanted it designed, they wanted to be part of the planning of it, and then and staying with the project until the outcome was something that resulted the interest of those who lived in that community. That was the purpose for the Community Advocacy Depot. And the students who came here got graded, okay, and they were the ones that worked with us very closely in developing this community, because out of that came the Douglas Center, a form of where it was designed, came Bradley Park Apartments.
Oh, really?
Yes, Bradley Park, before it became Trace Apartments, okay? Then it was all discussed, planned, and implemented. Implementation all came out with the help of the students at the University of Illinois to help the African American community plan to develop their own community. I would think that, I would say right now, based on what I see, the jury is still out, okay? Because until you get a consensus, and I think it needs to be developed more to give an expression of those who are in the community. At least I would say you'd want to take into consideration their ideas, hear from them as to what they're feeling mostly and what they're thinking about it, and then kind of listen to what it is that they would like to have. You see, it's always good to ask before you go and try to figure out, and then letting folks what you need. Through the whole integration process was telling people what they needed, okay? You really didn't get the cooperation of folks. And we know from that was all designed for those people who we felt who were entrepreneurs in this community. It then began, so sort of like a blessing and a curse. Naturally, it's a blessing to those who want to be across the street, okay? But it may be a curse for those who don't necessarily want to be across the street. So they still want to be able to kind of live out culturally. You know, maybe they're not comfortable yet in terms of socializing. Maybe they haven't been brought that. Because that goes into a deeper history in terms of, number one, why you even have all the segregation. That gets into a whole nother, I would say a whole lot of more of information that I think that some of us need to develop and understand, so that when we do see what some people think is progress, I still think that there can be some good things coming out of it to be able to benefit the group that maybe sometimes feel like they might be either displaced or maybe they didn't have a hand in the decision making right when the whole process came. We always have 2 or 3 people that white people are comfortable with, because they're not going to speak for the grassroots or the main street of people where we believe in keeping it real. We're not talking about intellectuals who are over on the yard, all right? We've got to feel very comfortable with someone is asking them something. They're not coming what we call correct, because they have to please the folks, you know, they don't want to make uncomfortable. But at the same time, they don't have to live with the folks over here who are going along with the decisions that are made for the folks.